And welcome to the Golden State Media Concepts Football Podcast, where we talk the latest news, rumors, and games of the NFL and college football. As always, I'm your host, Jeremiah, and we are literally 5 days away, I believe. 5 days away. I could be wrong. I didn't go to school to be a math major, guys. But we are close to Super Bowl 51, and yesterday was opening night in Houston, which took place at Minute Maid Park. And in case you guys don't know what opening night is, it is basically media day. And the NFL would have both teams host media sessions, I think every Tuesday or Wednesday. And it will happen like during the day. But as of last year, they moved it up to the first day of the week, which is Monday, and they moved it that night. So it has been called Monday. It has been called opening night for Super Bowl week. But opening night had a lot going on. Looks like Robert Kraft is wearing some very fly shoes. Kyle Shanahan got his backpack stolen from a quote-unquote reporter. Maybe backpack get is upon us. I'm just kidding. And Tom Brady drew a lot of the media. It's always the biggest story. And, of course, he had a lot of questions regarding, the Super Bowl. Pretty much everything that you think of that has to do with Tom Brady. And the crowd doubled in size at, I believe, 12,000, which was twice the size from 6,000 a year ago. But before opening night occurred, there was a poll that was released yesterday. And according to Darren Ravel of ESPN, for the second straight year, the New England Patriots are the most disliked team in the NFL. And this was from a poll taken by Public Policy Polling, and when it was released yesterday when I got off the air. And in the poll, about 378 NFL fans voted, and 21% of the people disliked the Patriots, and the Dallas Cowboys were right behind them at 19%. And of those fans that took part of the poll, 42% say they feel negative about the Patriots compared to only 19% who say they think of their Super Bowl 51 opponent, the Atlanta Falcons. So I just got to ask, why are the Patriots hated so much? Is it because they win so much? Is it because the quarterback, the coach, the owner? Is it because they showed support for a presidential candidate that looks like that's really not highly socially acceptable to support? Why is it? If you take all politics aside and just, we talk about football, why are they hated? Is it because they win so much? Have they become boring and stale? Maybe that is true. But another thing about this poll is, Tom Brady was the most popular quarterback among fans at 22%, but he was also the most hated at 24%. And his counterpart, Matt Ryan, was the 7th most liked quarterback behind Brady, Aaron Rodgers, Eli Manning, Dak Prescott, Ben Roethlisberger, and Russell Wilson. Bill Belichick was viewed negatively by 34% of those who voted, while 8% said that they didn't like Dan Quinn, the Falcons coach. I think that's because a lot of people don't really know who Dan Quinn is. Maybe if you're a hardcore football fan, you know. But Bill Belichick, he's been in the league. He's been a Patriots coach, I believe, since, the early 2000s. And he was part of he was a defense coordinator for the Giants in the 90s. And maybe he's been there so long is that maybe people get tired of watching him on the sideline. we live in an age where people really want change, like, all the time. Like, people are never satisfied nowadays. Maybe it's because they win so much, or maybe there's no balance of competition. And I believe in the NFL, there's a huge, great balance of competition. But when you go to your 7th Super Bowl, and I think the past 16 years, a lot of people are going to go tired of you. And you know what? I think that's a great thing. If people get tired of you and hate you so much, that means you're doing a great job. Well, another thing about this poll is that Belichick wasn't as disliked as Roger Goodell. 37% said they thought of him very unfavorably, and 42% disapproved of the job he was doing. So that doesn't surprise me one bit. But it's just I don't know. I just think it's just funny how the two of the most popular teams, the Patriots and the Cowboys I've looked at the America's team, and the Patriots are kind of looked at as America's team because of maybe their logo or the team mascot, so to speak. They are looked as the most hated team. I just don't get why they're hated so much. Like, this is the reason why I think Tom Brady's greatness and Bill Belichick's greatness are very great, very unappreciated. It's because they win so much. I'm very active on social media, and the other day on Facebook, I saw a photo from NFL.com that posted a graphic of Tom Brady's stats compared to Joe Montana's stats. And when you look at them side by side, Tom Brady has better numbers than Montana. And I know they play in a different era of football, so I would take some of those numbers out the window. But the one that really spoke to me was Brady is in 7 Super Bowls. Montana was in 4. And I literally said you cannot disrespect Tom Brady's greatness. You just can't. 7 Super Bowls says something to me. Do you even know how hard it is to make it to 1? Yet alone how hard it is to make it to the playoffs? I just think the reason why, the Patriots win so much, and all the scandals that that this franchise has become involved with is a part of the reason why this team is hated. And some people have said that the Patriots have, they have got away with a lot. May be true. Maybe Tom Brady was slapped on the wrist a little bit during the Deflategate. The Spygate. No one's going to forget that. So maybe that's part. Maybe that, and I understand. I understand that's the reason why you hate this team, because you've seen him as a cheater, and then your team is struggling, to win a game. So I do think that I do kind of find it kind of funny in this poll that this team is the most disliked because they win so much. And remember, there was a time when the Patriots weren't even winning games. So I do think that the reason why this poll, I think this poll is the reason why it shows that the greatness of Tom Brady, Bill Belichick, and the history that this organization has made in the past decade and a half will go underappreciated. But I do understand people's reasoning that why this team is hated so much. And then, they might go on, Tom Brady might go win his 5th Super Bowl out of 7 appearances. And that, to me, would be amazing. Well, another storyline that emerged yesterday was Devonta Freeman, the Atlanta Falcons running back. His agent did an interview with NFL.com and told Mike Silver that Devonta Freeman should be paid like an elite back that he is. He should be paid like a top 3 running back. And Devonta Freeman's agent, Kristen Campbell, told NFL.com, it's time for the Falcons to pay him like an elite running back that he is. But is Devonta Freeman a top 3 running back? When you compare Devonta Freeman to the big 3, and I consider the big 3 to be Le'Veon Bell, David Johnson, and Ezekiel Elliott. When I compare Devonta Freeman to those 3 guys, I don't even know if I can put him in that category. And don't get me wrong, Devonta Freeman, I think he's a phenomenal player. I think he was a huge reason that this offense was successful. Maybe it's the offense that he's in, but he was a huge part of it, and his style of play made the offense work. But I do understand that he does want a bigger contract because he is still in his rookie deal, and he's only making I think like $800,000. That includes bonuses. So he would be eligible to renegotiate his contract, when the new league year starts. Well, Freeman didn't really answer questions regarding his contract yesterday, which is very understandable. You're at the Super Bowl and you want to take it all in. You don't know when you're going to be back. And Freeman was hoping that he can land a contract extension after the season, and conceded that sharing the workload with second-year tailback Tevin Coleman throughout the season has been a source of frustration. And the fact that Freeman was in a timeshare with Tevin Coleman, who I think is also another great back, really hurts Devonta Freeman to show why he is an elite back. Well, I think honestly, if when the running back position is just not as valuable as it used to be. And, if the Falcons can't work it out with Devonta Freeman, then, they got a backup plan in Tevin Campbell. And not Tevin Campbell, I'm sorry. Tevin Coleman. I don't know why I thought of the R&B singer. I don't know why. But, when the way that teams evaluate running backs, they just don't last long in the league. And, they got Tevin Coleman, who is looked at as kind of in a similar light as Devonta Freeman. And remember, Tevin Coleman was actually supposed to be the starting running back heading to 2015. So, maybe if Tevin Coleman never really got hurt, maybe Devonta Freeman would have never got on the field. But, in 2015, Devonta Freeman just came out on fire. And, he didn't have, when you look at his numbers from this year, he was in the timeshare with Tevin Coleman. He only has 2 games that went over 100 yards rushing. And he does have games when he crossed over 100 yards total. But I'm looking at him as a rusher and a complete back. And, Devonta Freeman has shown me that he can be a complete back. Tevin Coleman has shown me too. But there is one stat I do want to share with you. Devonta Freeman is the only player with 10 or more rushing touchdowns in each of the last 2 seasons. His 2,222 rusher since 2015 is the most in the NFL, including the playoffs. And Devonta Freeman is the only running back with 1,000 yards in each of his last 2 seasons. So, he has shown that he can be productive, but I just don't know if he has shown he is an elite running back. And maybe it's because of the team that he's on. The offense is so explosive. Maybe the team makes him look good. I just feel like the way that Falcons offense is run was very suited for Devonta Freeman's running style. And Devonta Freeman and Tevin Coleman kind of have the similar style that made it work for this offense because, they're just fast. They go side to side. They catch the ball out of the backfield. And then Tevin Coleman and Devonta Freeman have shown me they can be productive running backs in this league. But I just don't know if the Falcons are willing to give Devonta Freeman the top 3 running back money. It's just that running back position is just not as valuable anymore. It's just not. A lot of teams, they don't draft a lot of running backs in the first round. That might change this year with Leonard Fournette, Devin Cook, and Christian McCaffrey, but it hasn't happened a whole lot. I remember Ezekiel Elliott. It was talked about being a reach for a running back at 4 when the Cowboys took him last year, and look how it turned out. It turned out pretty good. But I just don't think that the way that the running back position is valued this year, I just don't think the Falcons are going to give him that type of money. I believe the highest paid running back is Adrian Peterson. The highest paid running back is Adrian Peterson. LaShawn McCoy, only behind him. Then you got Jonathan Stewart, Doug Martin, Chris Ivory, Lamar Miller. But when I think of the top 3 running backs in the league, I think of Ezekiel Elliott, Le'Veon Bell, and David Johnson. Le'Veon Bell looked like he's going to get a new contract, and he deserves that new contract because we've seen how valuable Le'Veon Bell is to that team. David Johnson, whenever he's up for a new contract, I guarantee he's going to get it. And then when Ezekiel Elliott, whenever his new contract comes up, it can, Ezekiel Elliott, about 3 or 4 years right now, might be a different player. So I think it's too early to speak on Ezekiel Elliott and his new contract that will come up because he is on the rookie deal, but I think it's too soon. But when I compare Devonta Freeman to these other high-paid players, I just don't think he will get that type of money. I just don't think he will get the money to be the top running back in the league. I just don't think he will get that kind of money because remember they got Tevin Coleman too, who is a little bit younger. Even though he has had injury problems, he's someone that they like too. So I do think whenever Devonta Freeman's contract comes up and whenever Tevin Coleman's contract comes up, I think the Falcons have a decision to make. They have a decision to make between one of these running backs, and whichever one that they choose, they will be happy with it. I don't think they'll have a problem with letting Devonta Freeman walk because, like I said, running backs are just not as valuable as the quarterback. They're not as valuable as the offensive tackle. They're not as valuable as a pass rusher. They're not even as valuable as that top wideout. The game has changed so much that the running back position has gone non-existent. Like, just look at Green Bay. Look how they value running backs. Look at Seattle. They couldn't find a running back. A lot of playoff teams just couldn't. They don't have that typical running back anymore. And I know none of those teams are in the Super Bowl. And I know that the Falcons are in the Super Bowl for a reason, and that may be because of the running backs in their team. But I just feel like teams don't really want to sign huge money contracts to running backs unless, they've seen it before. Like Le'Veon Bell, he's someone that will probably get a contract. David Johnson will probably get a contract. And whenever Ezekiel Elliott is finished, he might, if he continues the success that he's shown his rookie year. So it is tough for me to see that Devonta Freeman will get top 3 running back money. But, it remains to be seen when we head to the offseason. Well, I'm going to take my first break. And when I come back, I'm going to discuss Rex Ryan and his feelings towards his former organization, the Buffalo Bills. And Greg Hardy is back in the news. And I will discuss why he is back in the news when I get back to the Golden State Media Concepts Football Podcast.
Tired of searching the vast jungle of podcasts? Now listen close and hear this out. There's a podcast network that covers just about everything that you've been searching. Hey! The Golden State Media Concepts Podcast Network is here. Nothing less than a podcast bliss with endless hours of podcast coverage. From news, sports, music, fashion, cooking, entertainment, fantasy, football, and so much more. So stop lurking around and go straight out to the Golden State Media Concepts Podcast Network. Guaranteed to fill that podcast itch. Whatever it may be. Visit us at www.gsmcpodcast.com. Follow us on Facebook and Twitter, and download us on iTunes, SoundCloud, and Google Play.
Well, it looks like Rex Ryan has no interest to become a defensive coordinator. In an interview with the New York Daily News, Rex Ryan wants to wait for his next head coaching job as he begins his upcoming television career as an analyst. And he says, this is what he's told New York Daily News. Quote, "The only thing about being on TV is that you don't lose. You remember every loss, but the wins, you don't necessarily remember, so it takes a lot out of you. I'm really getting tired. Unless it's a real situation as a coach, there's no sense of getting into it again." And I kind of had to add that, end quote. Well, I kind of had to edit that little quote because of Rex Ryan did say some explicitives, but, I tried to clean it up. But if you don't know already, Rex Ryan is actually going to join ESPN as an NFL analysis for Super Bowl week. I believe he's going to join the NFL Sunday Countdown this week, and he has had offers from CBS, Fox, NFL Network, and he hasn't really choose which network he wants to go with. So Rex Ryan does have 3 years remaining on his contract, which is 5 years, and he looks like he's not as bitter about it because of that situation, because of the money. But he said he was hurt. Rex Ryan said he was hurt from being fired at Buffalo. And, Bills owner Terry Pegula told the AP that he fired Ryan after the coach pressed ownership about his future prior to the regular season finale. So, Ryan said that it wasn't up to him to leave. No, that wasn't the case. They just told him to get out. And, Rex Ryan, he went 15-16 in almost 2 seasons. And he, maybe if Buffalo didn't have much injuries, maybe he would have had a different year. Because remember, Sammy Watkins, Shaq Lawson were huge. Were supposed to be huge on this team this year. And they didn't play very much. And the Bills organization hasn't really been run effectively. The one coach that took this franchise to his first winning season, Doug Marrone, he left. He quit on this team. Well, when Rex Ryan was, when he talked to New York Daily News, this is what he said about the job. Quote, "I set my expectations too high. Like, boy, that's a shock. In a way, I felt, why not us? I stepped in where the head coach, Doug Marrone, had quit. The defensive coordinator, Jim Schwartz, had quit. And the quarterback, Kyle Orton, quit on them. So I thought, that it was important at the time to say, you know what, Shu, I believe in you, and I'm proud to be the coach here. Every bit of that was true. I put that truck around town. I was all in. Even though those other 3 had quit, I wasn't a quitter. I was ready, and I wanted to be there, and I wanted to win, and I thought I could win. So, Rex Ryan thought he was really walking to a very real situation here where he had where he thought he can be successful, and I thought he inherited a really great team. He inherited a really great defense. It's just that quarterback has always been a problem for this team, and when they finally got one in Tyrod Taylor, he looked like he was a suitable quarterback for this team right now. And I don't think that Tyrod Taylor was going to be a franchise quarterback for the Bills. I thought he was a perfect placeholder because, he's a really good game manager, can make plays with his feet. I thought he was a perfect quarterback for them right now until they find the next guy. But, the front office, they didn't want Tyrod Taylor to play. And Rex Ryan's the only one that wanted Tyrod to play. And when Rex Ryan left, Tyrod he was benched by the front office. So you can tell by the way that this organization is run, Rex Ryan was pretty much screwed. He was screwed because of the way the ownership runs this franchise. And don't get me wrong, they're not as dysfunctional as the 49ers, but they're going to get pretty close. They have a lot of good players on that team that are probably not going to want to play there. I just think they just need, if this team has had trouble finding the quarterback, and I remember they drafted EJ Manuel in the first round, and we saw how that turned out. But I just think, Rex Ryan had a good team, and he looked like he just couldn't get this team to play the level that they thought they could. And, maybe it's fair that he was fired. We did talk about it here at the network that maybe if the Bills don't make the playoffs, Rex Ryan will get fired. The expectations were really too high. And I do think that Rex Ryan, I think he views himself as a placeholder coach. And I don't think he wants to be a placeholder. He wants to be the guy that leads the team to the playoffs and eventually a Super Bowl. And I don't know if Rex Ryan will coach again. I just don't know. If he doesn't, I think it's really important for him to become a defensive coordinator. But since he doesn't want to be a defensive coordinator, I just think he should just stick to television. I just think if his television career really is successful, I just don't think he's going to become a head coach. He's took the Jets to the AFC Championship twice with Mark Sanchez as quarterback. We'll just let that sink in. Don't get me wrong. I got that. I'm not going to put that against him. I actually think that's a very good accomplishment. But after the Jets didn't make the playoffs after those 2 straight years, that franchise became one of the laughingstocks of the league. And then Rex Ryan was let go. And then when Buffalo, he went to Buffalo, even before Rex Ryan was there, the front office of the Bills was dysfunctional. So, Rex Ryan was entering into a situation there, and he was expected to succeed right away. And, Rex Ryan thought he could succeed right away, and he had every right to. But as far as being a head coach again, I just can't see it. I think the only way that Rex Ryan would be a coach is if a team wants to have him as a placeholder coach, but Rex Ryan does not want to do that. I think for him to get back on the sidelines, I really think he should be a defensive coordinator, but no, he doesn't want to do that. But I don't know. It remains to be seen how Rex Ryan's television career goes. And I'm actually really think that's a really good spot for him. I think he is someone that's appropriate to step into that role. And I'm actually real excited to see how Rex Ryan will be in television. As far as another news, Greg Hardy is back again. Well, he's kind of almost back. Well, it looks like that Greg Hardy reportedly has applied to play in the Independent Spring League. And the Independent Spring League, it does start in April, and it looks like, he is trying to get back to playing football. And then it's just tough for me to talk about Greg Hardy because of his troubled past. And Greg Hardy is a guy that thinks he deserves another chance. He's had a second chance. He's had a third chance, and he just blew it. I don't know if he deserves to play in the NFL again. Because if a team decide, because we saw how his year with the Cowboys went, and if all the other 31 teams look at him, he's not going to be an elite player. He's going to probably be an average player. This is a guy that hasn't played in a year, and he's still 28. So I still consider that relatively young for a pass rusher, but with his trouble pass and the fact he's a little older, I don't even know if he can be an elite player anymore. Just don't think so. And if you don't remember, Hardy was arrested in September. He was arrested in September, due to a cocaine possession charge. And, I remember when that happened, he said, "Oh, that wasn't mine." Well, I don't know who was it then. And then he was convicted by a judge in a North Carolina case, but prosecutors dropped the case in February 2015. And last November in 2015, there was graphic photos of his girlfriend that were released that showed her really bruised up, and the photos were taken 24 hours when Hardy was arrested in May 2014. So I just don't think Greg Hardy I don't think he's ever going to play in the NFL again. And, in the spring league, if he does play in this league, he's not going to get paid for it. He's not going to get paid for it at all. But, other spring league officials, they have invited Johnny Manziel and Ray Rice. And Kellen Winslow is actually going to, he's actually one of the players that have signed up to play in this league. And then this independent spring league consists of 4 teams composed of free agents. And the teams will start training camp on April 5th. And they will play a total of 6 games in a 3-week span. And Greg Hardy, if he were to play, he would not receive a salary for playing because it is designed for former NFL draft picks a shot to display their talents. So I don't know if I just don't know if any other NFL team is going to give him a chance. And then in this, the spring league is not affiliated with the NFL at all, but NFL teams do plan to send scouts to these games and to workouts. And if scouts see Greg Hardy, I just don't think he will attract a lot of attention. He has to. I don't know if he's able to clean up his act, and I think the fact that he's had so many chances already is a reason why he's not going to be back. Like Johnny Manziel will probably be back because that will probably be his second chance, and he's still 24 and he plays a quarterback. He plays a position that is a very needed position in the league. So I can probably see Johnny Manziel back. Ray Rice will probably never be back because he is, I think, almost 35, and he's a running back, a position that gets hit hard a lot. No, I just don't see that. Greg Hardy, he is 28. He is still relatively young, but I just think the fact of his trouble pass is going to pretty much derail him of ever playing again. And I don't think he deserves to play again. I don't think he does. And the fact that the NFL has taken a strong stance on domestic violence is a reason why I don't think any of these teams want the PR problem with Greg Hardy. Well, I'm going to take my last break. And when I get back, I'm going to discuss the Oakland Raiders. It seems like the relocation for the Oakland Raiders kind of has put, I'm just going to give you guys an update. That's the best way I can put it. And I want to talk about a video that came out yesterday with Marshawn Lynch, and it is hilarious. I can't get enough of it. So I will talk about that when we get to the Golden State Media Concepts football podcast.
Are you looking for help for your fantasy football team? Check out the GSMC Fantasy Football Podcast. Get today's best advice on who to start, who to sit, even who you should draft. From sleeper picks to red-hot lineups, they got it all covered for you. That's GSMCpodcast.com/fantasy-football-podcast. We'll cover traditional leagues, dynasty, PPR, even IDP leagues. When you need fantasy help, there's just one show to hit up. Don't forget to like them on Facebook and follow them on Twitter. Visit GSMCpodcast.com for more info.
And welcome back to the Golden State Media Concepts football podcast. And it looks like the Oakland Raiders relocation to Las Vegas is kind of on a roadblock right now, as a major investor has pulled out of moving this team to Las Vegas. Well, it looks like that plan to move out it has to deal with billionaire casino mogul Sheldon Adelson. He withdrew his name from the Raiders stadium deal on Monday. Even investment bank Goldman Sachs is also reevaluating its relationship with a planned deal. And Adelson was apparently committed $650 million to get the $1.9 billion project completed, but announced his removal of the stake. And Adelson wasn't even in any of the Raiders' plans. He wasn't in the relocation papers, anything. And Nevada Governor Brian Sandoval sent a lease agreement proposal that was submitted last week. That expressed that the Oakland Raiders had intended to pick up the tab for Adelson's $650 million, which will put their total commitment to $1.15 billion for a deal in which they will also accept operation responsibilities and risk. And this whole thing looks kind of makes the Raiders look kind of bad, so to speak. When the Raiders fill out the relocation papers, Adelson was not even in a part of the plans. And this was supposed to be someone that was a huge investor and that was supposed to move the Raiders more likely to move into Vegas, but as of now, it looks like the Raiders' relocation to Las Vegas is on the roadblock, and who knows? Maybe it would stay. Maybe they will still find a way to get a stadium. But it looks like as of right now, the whole thing I can put in respect. The best way I can put it is that as of now, it looks like the Raiders are the Oakland Raiders. As of right now, it looks like they will stay that way until further notice. And, I know a lot of fans are excited about that. When this story came out on social media, a lot of Raider fans that I know were excited that this investor pulled out because of their beloved team is staying in California. And I know a lot of people here in Northern California and Central California, about where I'm from, were a little turned off by the Raiders moving to Vegas because they kind of felt like they were hurt, so to speak. But, they're still going to support the team. They weren't going to go San Diego Chargers on them, but they were going to still support the team. And it looks like the Raiders are still going to be in Oakland as of this news occurred. So with the major investor in Adelson, and Goldman Sachs kind of reevaluating their commitment to this stadium deal, it looks like that the Raiders will have a tougher road to be relocated. But, there's still a chance. Any relocation to Las Vegas must be approved by 24 of 32 NFL team owners. And a vote is expected to happen during the league meetings this year in March, which will take place in Phoenix. And if that does happen, then the Raiders can move forward with the relocation. But if they don't have any type of money to build a stadium, then maybe they might reevaluate it. But, I do think if Goldman Sachs does reevaluate their stake in this in the stadium deal, then Mark Davis is going to have something. I feel like he has something up his sleeve that's going to happen. He really wants that stadium. He really wants that stadium because he knows he's not going to get in Oakland. I just don't. It's on the roadblock, but I still think the Las Vegas Raiders will happen. I still think they will. And, it'll be interesting to see where the organization goes from here. But before I go, I just want to talk about this video that was released yesterday on YouTube. With a partnership with Skittles, Marshawn Lynch went to Houston to kind of hype up Super Bowl 51. But he doesn't go to Houston, Texas. He goes to Houston, Scotland. And I'm just telling you right now, I watched this video about 50 times, and it is like the best thing to hit the internet yesterday. The best thing to hit the internet yesterday. And it just makes me laugh. It just makes me so laugh. The things that he does in this video is just hilarious to me. And I remember during the video he was looking at a castle, very historic castle, and the guy was like kind of like a tour guide or some sort. And he was telling him when the castle was built in Scotland, and the tour guy was telling Marshawn Lynch that it was built in 1160, and Marshawn Lynch was like, "Built when? It was built when?" He's all 1160. 1160? That looks like the time that it is right now. I was like, oh my God, 1116. Oh wow. And and he walks into I believe a shop where I think they sell clothes or some sorts. And I guess the salesman was wearing one of those it's not a skirt. I forgot that what it's called on top of my head, but it's those little skirts that a lot of people in Scotland wear, that the ones that play the bagpipes. It's not called a skirt. I forgot the name of it. But Marshawn Lynch was like, "Yeah, I don't know about that. Where I'm from, we don't wear those, so I don't know if I'm gonna wear those." And there's a part when Marshawn Lynch he's riding his bike and there's some type of forest. And there's these guys that come out with swords. I don't know what they are. I don't know, but there's three guys that come up with swords and shields, and they run. They don't run up on him very aggressively, but they do run up on him. And Marshawn Lynch pulls his bike. He's like, "Hey, yo, man, hey, just watch out." He pulls his bike up, tries to leave his guard down, and there's another part of this video where Marshawn Lynch is walking out of the castle, walking down the steps of the castle with a tour guide, and he's all, "Well, this forest game, it looks like they had a plan for me, but they didn't know I had a game plan for them." I was like, oh man, I just want to know, man. Oh, that's the name. That's the name of the skirt. It's called a kilt. Yeah, a kilt. He was shopping for kilts, and the guy was like, I can email you a couple of designs. Okay, my email's like, I can't give you my email. They're filming right now. Man, oh my God, I just want to know. I would have loved to been there with Marshawn just to see how this all came about. But I'm telling you right now, no one has ever conquered retirement better than Marshawn Lynch. I feel he has a future in television. I think the Travel Channel Maybe the Discovery Channel, I think they need to give Marshawn Lynch a call because this guy is gold. This guy is gold. I think he has a very good career ahead of him in this type of field, traveling to different countries and just gets a perspective from him. Because if you just get the Marshawn Lynch perspective, it's just very organic and authentic. And I do think that's something that people really want to see, especially in this time of, the way that the country is going right now. But I do think that Marshawn Lynch deserves a show, and I do think he should go to Travel Channel or Discovery Channel. I think these networks need to give this man a call, because I wish this was a whole entire 30-minute episode. I wish it was. I'm just kind of mad it wasn't. I'm mad it wasn't longer. It was only a 3-minute video, and I wish it was at least 10 minutes. At least 10 minutes. But the video should be online for you guys, and just type in Marshawn Lynch, Scotland. And you guys won't be disappointed. If you haven't seen it already, I would go ahead and watch it. But that's going to do it for me today. I'd like to thank you guys for tuning in to the Going to Media Concepts Football Podcast. And we'll be back tomorrow. Anthony will be here as well. And we will discuss any news that will happen in the next 24 hours and pretty much anything Super Bowl related. But you guys will have to wait and see what we will talk about. I'm Jeremiah. I have to thank you guys for tuning in. You guys have a good day and have a pleasant tomorrow.
You've been listening to the Golden State Media Concepts Football Podcast, part of the Golden State Media Concepts Podcast Network. You can find this show and others like it at www.gsmcpodcast.com. Download our podcast on iTunes, Stitcher, SoundCloud, and Google Play. Just type in GSMC to find all the shows from the Golden State Media Concepts Podcast Network, from movies to music, from sports to entertainment, and even weird news. You can also follow us on Twitter and on Facebook. Thank you, and we hope you have enjoyed today's program.